Well, good morning, everybody. I'm meteorologist Lewis Turner. We've got the 11 o'clock update now, a bigger update because we get a shift in track and timing. We get to see that from the National Hurricane Center. Right now, the big infrared look with Hurricane Milton, 145-mile-an-hour winds, a Category 4 hurricane, a major, a devastating, a catastrophic hurricane that'll bring a life-threatening surge to Tampa and the west coast of Florida. We know that. But what we're also seeing from this picture on the infrared loop is it's getting beaten up, which is why the Hurricane Center, by shear right now and by a little bit of dry air trying to get pulled in. It's what the Hurricane Center has been forecasting and why they had the confidence now that this storm will go from a 4 to a 3 as it approaches Tampa. Forward speed is changing a bit with this as well. We're seeing now maybe more of a landfall closer to 10 p.m. That really does not change impacts for us here locally much. In fact, that centerline track and really the cone itself tightening and focusing in on that Tampa area. For our impacts right now, we're actually starting to get plenty of them as you look at that storm, and up here on our first coast, getting those waves of rain right now, heavy banding coming in off the beach from St. Augustine down to Palm Coast, Daytona Beach, and really all over the metro right now. But some of the heaviest rainfall where we have flash flood warnings will be in Hastings, so in the very western reaches and southern reaches of St. Johns County, to Palatka over in Putnam County because of all the rainfall. Somewhere near 5 inches of rain already fallen here, and we're only going up as this continues through the evening. Crescent Beach, parts of that in that flash flood area as well. In just a moment, we're going to talk to Lee Southwick and our friends at First Coast Living, going to talk about county by county impacts and timing through the evening, so don't go anywhere.
This has been a First Coast News on Your Side special report, tracking Milton, always streaming on First Coast News Plus. 1, 2, 3, 4. Live from the studios of First Coast News, Jordan Wilkerson.
First Coast Living live.
And David Benfield.
Sounds good to me.
Well, come join us.
This is First Coast Living.
Hello, welcome to First Coast Living. I'm David Benfield. Unfortunately, Jordan will not be joining us today. However, she will be on your side, ready to cover the impacts of Hurricane Milton. She'll be in the Palatka area later this afternoon, so we wish her the best. But first, we want to welcome our dear friend, meteorologist Lee Southwick, so she can give us a little bit of an update, like county by county on the hurricane. Hello, good to see you.
Good to see you.
You've been working hard. You've been doing great.
Circumstances, though. I wish we weren't talking about another hurricane.
I know.
And Lou was just showing you the flooding already happening in portions of St. Johns County. So we're in it now, folks. And so I'm going to start with first Flagler and Putnam because we think the wind is going to be the worst here. Winds sustained of 60, gusts to 75 miles an hour, widespread tree damage, widespread power outages, rainfall of 6 to 12 inches and a surge of 2 to 4 feet, flooding along the St. Johns River likely with that surge. And then for St. John's, a surge of 3 to 5 feet. We've had those mandatory evacuations with that surge possible on top of the rainfall, 5 to 10 inches total. Maybe some isolated spots more than that, considering we've had almost 5 inches already. It's, what, 11 a.m.?
And the ground's already saturated, right? So there's nowhere for the water to go.
It's really, yeah, it's unfortunate. It's a little scary. So we're going to watch that flooding potential just from the rainfall already. Winds sustained to 55, gusts to 75, especially the saturated ground. I think trees will go down. I think we'll have power outages there. And then for Duval and Clay, surge of 2 to 4 feet. Winds sustained at 40, gusts to 60. So some trees could go down, some power outages possible, rainfall of 4 to 8 inches. So just be prepared for some of those power outages too. Up towards Nassau, Glenn, and Camden counties, surge 1 to 4 feet, winds sustained at 35, gusts to 50, rainfall 2 to 4 inches. And then as we get inland, Columbia, Baker, Bradford, Union, rainfall 1 to 3 inches total, gusts up to 40 miles an hour.
So it's substantially different.
Better. It's better for Lake City and places like Waycross where they just got slammed by Helene. At least they have a little bit of a break.
That's fortunate for them that at least they get a break from that, right?
Right, because I think they'll only get rainfall totals maybe an inch, maybe. Right now,
it's kind of a normal day.
Right, exactly. And then gusts only to 35 miles an hour. So it's definitely the farther southeast you go, the worse those impacts will be.
Okay, so real quick with Duval County, you were talking about sustained winds of 40 miles an hour. When do they close the bridges?
40.
There you go.
Sustained at 40, so it's
be on the lookout.
possible we could get some closed bridges.
All right, cool. All right, well, thank you so much, Lee. I really appreciate it. Let's now turn our attention to meteorologist Robert Spetta, who is in Flagler Beach. So how are the conditions out there, Robert?
Well, Yeah, you can see behind me, it's starting to pick up. We're getting a pretty decent little band coming through. I got my trusty Kesteroid here. If you don't know what that is, basically it's a personal weather station that you kind of carry with you. And I just got a gust here at about 30 miles per hour. So we're edging near tropical storm strength wind gusts, not sustained at least at this time. But key thing is that winds are already starting to pick up out here. There is an evacuation order in place for Flagler Beach, or pretty much all of the coastal areas extending from Marineland all the way down to Flagler Beach here east of the Intracoastal. And they do have one shelter open in Palm Coast. That is Rime Fire for anybody that needs to go there if you can't evacuate. Now I do want to show you some video I just shot here, a drone video out over the pier. This was right before it started raining out here. Just showing those waves already crashing up on shore. And that's the key thing. The storm is still well towards the west, but the waves are already picking up here. And as we go ahead through high tide tonight, they're going to continue to get higher, but I'm more concerned about tomorrow morning and tomorrow evening. That's when we start to see those max winds combined with the high tide. So those waves and that overall surge could get as high as about 3 to 5 feet along those immediate coastal areas. So those evacuation orders that are in place, take them seriously if you are under one, especially if you're in a building that's not terribly sturdy. Mobile homes here in Flagler Beach, I've seen several mobile home parks, things like that, where you know, they're not going to be able to withstand possibly hurricane strength wind gusts at the very least, which are enough to knock down trees and cause power outages. But right now I'm in Flagler Beach, got the pier behind me, which still is damaged from Hurricane Ian, so people here know what's going on with these storms, and they are taking them seriously.
Well, thank you, Robert. Really appreciate that. For those who might not know, we have a Facebook page called First Coast News Weather Watchers. It's a page where you can share all the stellar pictures that you take of the First Coast and engage with the community. And you might even see your images on our newscast. But today, we actually want to focus on your questions. So let's bring meteorologist Lee Southwick back into the studio to answer some of those questions. All right, so the first one, we have one viewer who's asked, how large is Milton now and how much will it expand once it reaches landfall, right? And there's another part to it. So why does that happen?
Right, of course. So to start, I tried to measure it for us here. So that shows,
wow,
the grand scheme of things, about 426. That's obviously a rough estimate.
Sure, but that's huge.
It is much bigger than it was when it was a Cat 5.
Right, because it was tight.
Yes, exactly. And as you have those winds weaken, this hurricane just starts to expand
dissipate, right?
and grow, and that makes it worse for storm surge a lot of times too. Happened with Katrina.
Oh, wow.
Cat 5 smaller, got bigger as it went to Cat 3, and we know what happened to New Orleans.
Right.
So I will say though, with the update at 11 a.m., the National Hurricane Center said that hurricane force winds extend only 35 miles outside of the eye.
Interesting.
Tropical storm force winds extend 175 miles outside
wow. So
of
we're
that
talking
center.
like 35 to here, then 175. You're talking
right. So
way up.
obviously the worst is going to be exactly where it makes landfall, but then it's going to continue to grow as it moves over Florida, and so that's why we'll feel tropical storm force winds even here on the First Coast.
Gotcha. Thank you. All right. So another viewer asking, can anyone tell me what the sustained winds were in Orange Park during Helene? But more importantly, how will Milton, effects compare to what we saw with Helene, right?
So I know the max gust, I believe it was 56 miles an hour for Orange Park. But with the difference with this storm, there's a couple of differences, obviously.
Right.
I do believe that this is going to be more of a rain event and a surge event for our coastal areas. Wind probably about the same for those areas, gust to around 60 miles an hour for Orange Park specifically.
Gotcha.
So the wind similar to Helene, more rain, more of a flood threat though.
Gotcha.
What was the other part of the question?
No, that was pretty much it. So
okay.
No, and so I guess basically because Helene was really fast, right? So it blows right through here, so it's more wind than it is rain. And as this one's, I guess, a little bit slower, we're going to get more rain for us.
And it's because of the way this hurricane is built, and it's coming, and we usually talk about the dirty side of a storm, and Helene, technically we were on that dirty side. Here, it's the north side. You can see all the rain that's already over it. So we're going to get more rain out of this system, just the way that this hurricane is built, this system is set up. And with the frontal boundary over us, it's just more of a rain and a surge threat coming from the south side of us rather than sweeping off to the north. Of course, as we talked about, Waycross got it way worse.
Yeah, they did.
And this time they'll have an easier time with it.
Good. Okay, thank you, Lee. I really appreciate it. Guys, in a quick announcement, we are on your side with a special newscast today on NBC. You can stream this on the FCN Plus app if you have Apple TV, Fire TV, or Roku.